Happy New Moon-a-thon all. It is a little bit daunting because I have made things very difficult for myself. I have a Patreon chapter going up in a few days that hasn't been finished. I have Y24 to finish. I have Y25 to start, and I have challenged myself to write 7 books this year, each in 7 weeks. So we will see where this goes. But with the new Moonathon, I know what we're starting with, and that is exquisite fabrics, traditional weaving and embroidery patterns in China. By Gao Chunming. It is, including appendixes, about 650 pages, so it is a chunk. So I am kind of using this for research for one of those 7 books. Probably more novellas and novelettes, let's be honest. 7 weeks is not a lot of time to write and edit. God, I love challenges and I am terrible at them. I do really want to also just wedge in some fiction as well. I would love to finish A Magic Steeped in Poison, one of Michelle Can's A Romantic Chinese Fairy Tales is perfect for the future prompt. I have listed it in the StoryGraph challenge, so you can just have a nosy at that. Even though this is going up after the readathon, obviously. Great resource for books. People have added some really, really interesting ones. The book is the star of the show, yes, but the slipcase is also really pretty. Whoop. No. John Romer, what do you mean by non-silk producing, often aggressive cultures? So I'm not keen so much on the introduction. It could be better. It's not necessarily wrong. I think it's weird to be like, these cultures are often aggressive when you just described them as on the edge of empire, you know, that thing that famously tends to expand whether people want it to or not. There are just little bits here and there in the very condensed introduction, trying to cover like from the Qin dynasty to it's the Qing, wasn't it? That was the last one. Yeah, they're just little bits, which I'm not a fan of. I know it's just going from red to blue, but that looks like the Pan Pride flag. Okay, a few thoughts from I am nowhere near as far as I thought I would be. It's a little bit sad in the index when you look through it that they talk about all of these like motifs that you find, and they actually have to include the swastika and the bit about the swastika because it's not tilted. Like it's a Buddhist symbol and has been for millennia. And I feel like it's just a shame that you have to specify which it is. It's because I've seen some like really stupid people on the internet as of late. Someone showed like a diagram of a building, and apparently people were up in arms because it looks like a swastika, and it's like, yeah, probably because it's you know, Buddhist, but also it's a diagram of a building of like an ancient building. Ancient predates, you know, the 1930s. I'm going to sound like a complete idiot. But yeah, like some thought, please. My second thought is that's a fun little thing to start your paragraph off with. There are no paragraph breaks though. If they just have that, which is certainly a choice. So, as I had a feeling might happen, but was very much hoping would not, we're kind of at a bit of a standstill with the new Moonathon because 5 reviews are due this month. 4 I am obligated towards. One is NetGalley that I got back in October, I think. So I feel like I really have to, even though it's not technically what I would term obligated. So very slow on that front. That being said, I am planning on getting to the Manchu Dragon either tonight or tomorrow. It is the shortest book on my list because it was an accompaniment to an exhibit at the Met, looking at Qing Dynasty costume, which is really interesting to me, because I'm already reading very slowly exquisite fabrics. Yeah, the Qing Dynasty is a little bit interesting though, in the sense of like, we have the Han-Fu revival movement, but it's not included because the Qing were Manchu and not Han. And, you know, it does make sense. In a way, Han-Fu is the clothing of the Han people, but I don't know. I think there is something in that. But that is another academic hole, and we're not going down it. It's on my wrist. That thing I've been looking for is on my wrist. Ooh, okay. Ooh, okay. So I was a little bit concerned that this was going to be too high because Asian noses, my kind of Asian nose, doesn't really have a bridge. But I'm actually not. I don't hate it. And it's real nice to be able to see clear again. Okay. Forgive my just rolled out of bed at 9 o'clock. Look. Gosh, this is like both really good, and I mean this in the most complimentary sense to the book. I've had to give up taking notes because there's just too much information. I would never be able to finish this in my lifetime. If I kept taking notes, which is obviously I don't buy these kinds of books to read them only once, but yeah, I'm having a really good time with it. So I think that was quite a successful sprint. At least the video this time actually uploaded in full. I decided to read Religions of Beijing instead of Exquisite Fabric. I just didn't want to have to fight to handle a book that big. As you can probably tell, I'm very tired and I just wanted things to be easy. It is a very interesting book, and I think the way that it came about is very interesting. Students from 2 universities kind of teamed up. Chinese students had like a place, a temple or a mosque or whatever, and then the students at Drake University kind of read it over, helped with the translation, asked questions. So things could be clarified or more information could be given. Things that weren't like obvious, that needed to be explained to someone who wasn't as familiar, could be. I think that's a really interesting approach, and I'm quite happy with it. I took quite a few notes. Probably shouldn't have, because it really shook the camera a wee bit. But yes, those are going to be very useful to me. We're quite possibly in the red, which makes me a little hopeful because it doesn't seem so bad. We have lost a tile, and I can hear the roof whistling sometimes, which I don't like. But hopefully it doesn't get worse. So, shit looks like a mess because it is, but I promise we have a point. I want to finish this for the new Minathon. I need to start filling out my diary, which was kindly gifted to me by a friend for absolutely no reason at all. We need to keep going with the transcriptions. I need to finish this panel. I swear to God, I need to finish this panel. And finish the Manchu Dragon, and so we are back to Exquisite Fabrics. We are currently live streaming. I think this is going to be my last sprint because I did not account for the daylight. Because why have common sense? It was an interesting book. And I think you could really tell it was from the 80s. So, pros and cons. I don't remember everything I said about the Manchu Dragon costumes of the Qing Dynasty, and my notes are not a lot. I did think that the opening was a little bit overly romanticized, maybe Orientalist, and there were other little bits that I didn't like. Just like the separation of like Chinese and Manchu. Like, if you mean Han, say Han. Yeah, and then some of the phrasing, like both the Buddhist and Taoist churches, they're not churches. I would have really liked you to justify why you were saying Taoists were originally alchemists, because again, protochemistry is a thing. But the approach in the West and in the East were very different, and it's not the same thing. So not a great usage of terms. And then just like weird comments like convention's strange to us. Like, we know that you're a person in the 80s writing for the Met, for an exhibition at the Met. Like, we know you don't need to emphasize the otherness. I think most of all, the thing that I am saddest about relating to this being from the 80s is just the quality of the photographs. I really wish that we had better. You can see them well. I would just like more definition. So I'm just about halfway, just over halfway through. And I think my favourites so far have been Dongyue Temple and Guangji Temple. So I think it was the first entry about the church that talked mostly about the choir, which is, it wasn't uninteresting, but these kind of talk more about the religion itself and the history of these buildings, and that just appeals to me more. Well, I know that Catholicism has its own like language of art and everything, but given that this is baby Jesus, I'm thinking that St. Joseph refers to like that Joseph, which is kind of mind-boggling to me that I've never heard him referred to in that way before. But also, why wouldn't he be? So we are currently here, which would make me feel confident about finishing the book, except I am very busy today. I am going to cook for my friends tomorrow, a kind of Chinese New Year thing. This is just the earliest we could get people together. I have to cook today. I'm going to show you because it's from one of the books that I said was a possibility for a prompt. But we need to prep stuff, and I'm also very unwell today, so I would love to finish this. I also really just want to read something that gives me joy, which was originally a prompt that I didn't really know how to fill, and I thought it was going to be like finishing a magic steeped in poison or something. It is not. It's going to be my favourite art book by one of my favourite artists. And this kind of doubles up in another prompt, and I will tell you what that is when my brain comes online. Okay, so this has the recipe that I'm going to be working on today. If this will open to the page, that's not the page. Why are you not? Okay, I think I've got it. Nope. Okay. This is what I'm going to be making today. The beef, anyway. So I have my books right here, but I haven't been reading them, and usually I feel really bad about that, but I got my contributor's copy for Ashwell Gate, and it is on sale, and I am really happy about it. This is so exciting. Yeah, I guess I just kind of, I knew it was due out at some point in the nebulous future, but it kind of just took me by surprise to just find it in my email. It's really, it is a TTRPG book, and it's system agnostic. You can play anything in it. I contributed the setting. It is the first in the book because it's the apothecary, and it just, alphabetically it just comes first. But it's just really exciting to see it, my writing, in this book. And I also, because it was a Kickstarter thing, I got some illustrations for the setting, and they're beautiful, and I'm so excited.